Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. It is the last day of 2024, and we are just getting ready to enter 2025 as we get into tomorrow. So, I hope you all have a great New Year's Eve out there tonight, as we will be celebrating that too as well. And we also will be going over a lot of things that we can expect in today's weather forecast, as we will be tracking a very big ice storm and as well as a snowstorm by the time we get into beginning of next week, which does appear to possibly be devastating and could even be historic, as some areas are expected to see possibly feet of snowfall. So we definitely will be going over that too as well, and then we'll also be going over a polar vortex that's expected to roll on through by the time we get into the middle of January, which is going to be something to really pay attention to, as we are also going to be watching for even some more snowfall too as well, even as we get into the middle of January. So make sure to stay tuned till the end, so that way you guys know what and all to expect, and make sure to click that subscribe button down below, as we will continue to keep you all updated with the latest. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up as well; those help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. Feel free to leave anything down below, and I'll get to those right after today's weather forecast. But let's first start off by talking about this ice storm as we get into the beginning of next week. And as you guys can see, the European model is currently forecasting freezing rain and heavy snowfall across the lower Ohio Valley by the time we get into Monday of next week, which with maybe even some heavy rainfall on the southern side of that system too as well. So this is going to be quite a wild system as it rolls on through. So we definitely will need to be paying attention to this very closely. And not only does it look to impact the lower Ohio Valley, but will also continue to move eastward, impacting those coastal areas like Delaware, up there into New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, maybe even as far north as Maine, as this storm will continue to head northeastward even as we get into the middle of this next week. So this definitely is going to be something to watch for, as this is going to be a quick moving system, because like what we looked at a second ago, it was at the lower Ohio Valley on Monday, and now this is later on Monday. So like I said, it is going to be a pretty quick moving system as it rolls on through those areas, but it will contain a lot of freezing rain and a lot of very heavy snowfall in it. So a lot of areas are expected to see very high accumulation even as this continues to head northeastward into parts there of the New England area. And if we take a look at how much freezing rainfall to expect with this system as it rolls on through, because like I said, it will be fast moving, but it is going to contain a lot of freezing rain and a lot of heavy snowfall on it. Starting off by taking a look at the freezing rain, just look at this, guys. Southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, even southern Ohio, all look to see anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of freezing rainfall, guys, especially where you see those brown colors right there. That indicates even over an inch of freezing rain right there. So make sure you guys are being on high alert if you guys live across the lower Ohio Valley, parts there of Missouri, Illinois, into Kansas, and as well as parts there in the mid-Atlantic, as I do think almost all of those areas are going to be seeing either a tenth of an inch of freezing rain or more. So definitely something to really watch for, as some areas might even receive devastating amounts of ice. So definitely get ready for that. And not only does the European model show that, but if we compare that to the GFS model, does not show it as intense, but still shows maybe around anywhere from a tenth to a quarter inch there across parts there of the lower Ohio Valley, especially right there by Evansville. Otherwise, most of this ice storm looks to be farther down to the south. So like I said, we will definitely need to watch it very closely. We just don't have very good agreement on the exact track of this ice storm. So obviously things could still change, but I do think it's almost a guarantee that we see an ice storm somewhere in this area right here, just somewhere in this area. So if you do live in this area that I just circled, make sure you are being on very high alert, as I do think a lot of these areas, like I said, are definitely going to have to watch that ice potential very closely, especially as we head into the beginning of next week. And then if we look at your total snowfall throughout the beginning and as well as the middle of next week, not only will we be seeing that potential for freezing rainfall across the lower Ohio Valley, but if we look at your total snowfall, check this out, guys. From now all the way to the middle of next week, just like what we looked at with our freezing rain, we are going to be seeing that potential for over a foot of snowfall across parts there of the lower Ohio Valley, especially southern Indiana. Like, I am literally brainstorming right now about this area right over here, just to the north there, Louisville, possibly seeing over 2 feet, guys, especially where you see those teal colors right there. So make sure to be prepared for this, guys. Not what we would usually see for this time of year, as some areas like Kentucky would only usually get around a foot of snowfall on average. So definitely something that not a lot of people are used to this far down to the south, but a lot of people probably do like it, given the fact that they don't really get as much snowfall as what the Great Lakes region does. So make sure to be on high alert, like I said, as whether we'll get ice or heavy snowfall. Power outages are definitely going to be likely across the lower Ohio Valley by the time we get into the beginning of next week and even into the middle of next week, as devastating amounts of snow and ice are definitely appearing to be likely. So make sure to be on high alert before we get into next week. And if we compare that to the GFS small, once again, does not show it as intense, but we'll definitely watch it closely as some things could still change. And now let's look at how much ice causes what. Okay, so most areas are expected to see some devastating amounts of ice. So let's start off by looking at anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of freezing rain. And what that does is it causes more widespread power outages. It causes trees to fall down, extremely dangerous to walk or drive on untreated paved surfaces that will be covered in ice. So even if you don't see up to an inch of freezing rain, it still can be devastating in some cases. So make sure you are getting prepared for the storm, even if you're not expecting an inch of freezing rain. And same with this next color. This is your purple color, which indicates the impacts anywhere from 1/2 an inch to an inch of freezing rain, which is widespread power outages, possibly for an extended period of time, which is definitely not good news. Many downed trees and impassable roadways expected. So usually when you get over 1/2 an inch of freezing rain, usually that means like almost everything's gonna have to be delayed due to some roads being impassable, meaning that it would be impossible to get through due to way less friction. So we'll definitely need to watch that very closely, like I said, as that continues to roll on through, as this is definitely not looking good for you guys. So make sure to be on very high alert at the beginning and as well as the middle of next week, as like I said, devastating amounts of ice and snowfall are definitely appearing to be on the likely side of things. And then the next storm that we're going to be tracking, this is actually going to be during the polar vortex event that rolls on through, and because of how far down south that cold air is expected to roll on through, we could be seeing a lot of freezing rain down here in the deep south by the time we get closer to the middle of January, because like I said, this is when that huge polar vortex event is going to roll on through, and you guys can tell by looking at this, as we are going to be seeing that cold air surge as far down south as Orlando, Florida. Look at that. We could be seeing lows in the 30s while we're going to be seeing lows in the negatives. Like, this is just wild, guys. This is something, like I said, that we typically would not see this far down south, okay? So make sure to be on very high alert. even if you're not going to be seeing this big ice storm next week, you should still be on high alert for these colder temperatures, especially as they move farther down to the south, as some areas could definitely experience frostbites due to low wind chills, and that is definitely going to be a possibility, as much of these areas are going to be seeing wind chills well into the negatives, including the Midwest. And then if we look at your Climate Prediction Center outlooks, starting off with the Weather Prediction Center outlooks, this is the 3 to 7 day outlooks across the United States. And as you guys can see, we will be tracking freezing rain as we get into the beginning of next week, right around the January 5th time frame, while we are going to be seeing just some regular rain on the southern side of that system, while areas far to the north, especially up there in the Dakotas, we will be tracking some hazardous cold temperatures as those polar vortex events just getting ready to get started during that time. And we'll also be seeing some areas of high winds and even some heavy precipitation off the west coast. So make sure to be on high alert for this system as it rolls on through, as I am also expecting more atmospheric river events to happen. So make sure to be watching very closely. And then the next thing to watch for will be that polar vortex event, like I said, as we just showed you guys that a second ago. And this is why the not the Storm Prediction Center, but the Climate Prediction Center, pretty much those experts are saying that there could be well below normal temperatures, and they are so confident that they issued a high risk anywhere from the lower Ohio Valley all the way back down there in the Florida, which could mean temperatures 30 degrees below normal, which is definitely not good news for you guys down there in Florida. So definitely get ready for this, as this is definitely looking to be a pretty extreme event as it rolls on through. And not only do we expect that cold to roll on through, but also that snowfall. Just another heads up with that snowfall, as like I said, we might need to watch for maybe a snowfall or ice storm down here in the deep south by the time we get closer into the middle of January. So like I said, this is definitely something to be on high alert for, as the Climate Prediction Center is a little bit confident that we may get a little bit of a snow or ice storm event farther down to the south. So definitely something to pay attention to. And then the last things we're going to take a look at is your total rain and as well as your total snowfall. And as you guys can see, starting off with your total rainfall, we will be tracking a lot of rainfall across the east, and most of this is probably considered snow or ice, by the way, as that is likely going to be occurring as we get into next week, while areas in the northwest will likely continue to see those atmospheric river events roll on through, and that's why some areas may get around a foot, especially areas like Eureka. And then for your total snowfall, this is what I'm more concerned about, as the European model is showing a huge swath of around a foot of snowfall anywhere from New England all the way through the lower Ohio Valley and as well as into Kansas. So definitely something to be on high alert for, as places like southern Indiana may get around 2 feet of snowfall, as the European model shows this. But like I said, obviously not a guarantee that we see a foot of snowfall, as the GFS model is not agreeing with this. But like I said, though, I think we will at least see a few inches of snowfall as we get into next week. So definitely make sure you guys are paying attention down here, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest, as devastating amounts of snowfall is definitely appearing likely across those areas. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy today's weather forecast. Consider subscribing to the channel, as we will continue to keep you all updated with the latest, and so that way you can stay informed on the weather forecast, as we are going to be seeing that potential for dangerous ice and as well as dangerous snowfall. So definitely something to really be on high alert for as those storms roll on through. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up as well. This help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. Feel free to leave anything down below, and I'll get to those in just a second. And I hope you guys all have a great New Year's Eve and as well as a great New Year's Day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.